Hello, yes, hi YouTube. Welcome to another build. I almost said welcome to Chili's. Welcome to another build guide. I made a crit low life winter orb elementalist. Um, it's pretty good. I don't know. I've been having a good time. I made a life based build on this a couple leagues ago, but I haven't played it since they buffed the skill tree like hell. Yes, they did tone down winter orb by like 5%, but they also buffed the skill tree, so you overall gain damage. And I've been doing some T16s today, just spamming guardians, you know, standard stuff. And spamming some shapers, did depth 500 with it. It's pretty clean. I'm not using any impulses. It's the Herald Device Celestial MTX that looks so fancy and blue. It's very pretty. And everything just kind of crunches. It's a very satisfying build, very lazy build. You just channel up Winter Orb stacks until you get a decent number. Like I can go up to 12 because I got the Helm Enchant. And then it lasts for a couple seconds and you just run around and everything dies. A duration cold spell AoE projectile, so any of that sort of stuff scales it, plus we're crit, so it's pretty easy to scale, honestly. You have some issues with single target. If you have like relatively crap jewels or like a lower level skill tree, you might have a little bit of issues using really high tier bosses, but you should be fine most of the time. I am dual curse. I have a curse on hit Assassin's Mark with my Herald of Ice, and I have Warlord's Mark on Herald of Thunder, which is not a very clean setup. I'd probably recommend you just get curse on hit rings, but I'm lazy and didn't feel like doing that, so just used all my links, it's fine. Drop a portal, run into the boss, and vomit some projectiles on Minotaur. Don't bully me. Go. See, it's not insane single target, but it's definitely not bad. And I'm really not set up for bossing, I'm just set up for AFK mapping. But yeah, oh fuck, damn it. Alright, well, we're back here now. Skill tree wise, I'm an elementalist. Why? Because lots of reasons. Number one, we get to have this rotating buff. You can see it up here. It just gives you this rotating buff that makes all your damage shock, chill, and ignite, and then sometimes you get all three. It's really good for just having status ailments all the time. And then you also get Beacon of Ruin, which makes your elemental ailments proliferate to enemies around them. It's like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's like contagion spread. It's really cool. It also means that your chills always reduce action speed by at least 10%. You get 20% more ignite damage, and you get always 20% shock minimum. Sometimes you can get higher than that. So that's 20% more damage from shock. Really good. We also can get Pendulum Destruction for some rotating AoE slash area. I wish this had another icon up here, but it doesn't for some reason, which is kind of annoying. And then Mastermind of Discord gives us 25% Cold Pen with Herald of Ice, increase effect of heralds, and mana reservation of herald skills, which helps us, you know, have some mana to cast with. It says just 25% cold pen though, which is pretty solid for me. As for the skill tree, it is a pretty cookie cutter. Like, you got a low life, pain attunement, more spell damage while in low life, and then everything else is just like spell crit, ES, leech, cast speed, skill effect duration, you know. But yeah, this low life is when you're at 35% or less. So as long as you reserve most of your life, you'll be on low life. You'll get that 30% more spell damage all the time. I don't know how I would path this if I were leveling, because don't level a character as ES. Don't make an ES character unless you have ES gear. Try to aim for at least 7k ES. You should be able to achieve more or less what I have in League without too much issues. You're probably gonna hit like 10k in League pretty easily with endgame gear, you know. But before that, try to go for like at least 7. So we get a bunch of ES here. We get some AoE damage, some jewel sockets, spell crit, low life damage. I have 2 of these channeling nodes. Next level I'll grab this one, but the mana cost is whatever. I don't need it. So cast speed, crit multi, 1 reservation node here, and then like another here, and then 3 more here. So we got all the reservation basically on the side of the tree. Some ES, some crit multi for spells, Ghost Reaver, so we can leech energy shield instead of life. And it doubles our maximum recovery per second with ES, which is what Volpact used to do for life base. That's what it does. So it's the same, but this is your Volpact and your leech, so that's pretty cool. We get some ES spell leech down here, some other jewel socket, ES spell leech here, and then recovery bonuses as well. This is really important. It allows you to multiply your maximum recovery rate to your ES, which is nice. A bunch of ES here. I already talked about that. Some damage, crit multi down here. I do take an Unnatural Instinct. You don't need this. It's just like a lot of free damage. Like 31k goes to 28k. So that's about 10% more damage right there if you can afford it. You don't need it, obviously. I would still be able to do everything with 10% less damage, but you know. Head through the Scion ES nodes to grab a skill effect cluster. I only have one of these. It seems like enough. At max stacks, I think I last for about 7 seconds at 10, and then probably about 7.5 at 12. What else we got? More jewel sockets. Come over here for dual curse. You don't need to go dual curse. You could drop Assassin's Mark or Warlords, but might as well, right? Some more ES over here. Some Cricker multi for spells. Reservation we talked about. The channeling cluster here for the cast speed mostly. And then some ES and some jewel socket. And over here we got LE damage, LE pen. This is 5% pen here. We get 25% pen from this. I think I have a little bit of pen from something else as well. I have 36 gold pen. I'm not sure where I'm getting the other couple percent. It might be my amulet actually. Yeah, I got 6% pen on amulet. So I have 36% pen all the time, which is great. Jewels. So unnatural can go here if you have it. If you don't have this unnatural, then just use another 4 property jewel, 3 property jewel, whatever. So things that scale Winter Orb. Oh god. Spell damage while holding a shield, cold damage, projectile damage, area damage, increased damage, crit multi, global crit multi for spells, crit multi for cold, crit multi for elemental, cast speed, attacking cast speed while holding a shield, percent maximum energy shield if you need it, stats resist if you need them. I think that's all of the potential spell options. You could also just go for abyssal jewels with like flat cold dispels while holding a shield, crit multi, cast speed if you dealt the crit recently, flat energy shield, damage, onslaught, on kill, like all of that stuff works as well. But yeah, my jewels are not stupidly OP. Like this one's double damage, multi-ES. This one is just quad damage, no ES. Without ES, jewels are really cheap. Like people prioritize ES pretty hard. There's a double damage, or double multi-damage cast speed, whatever. There, you showed that one. This is the unnatural, otherwise I just probably throw in another 4 prop. This is double damage, double cast speed, so no multi there. Multis are like huge amount of scaling if you can get it. This is just quad damage, no multi, no cast speed, you know. These are relatively cheap. As for the Abyssal Socket in my belt, I have Crit Multi, Onslaught, and ES on a Searching Eye Jewel. You can't actually get Onslaught on Hypnotics, so you can't get a jewel that has flat, cold dispels, and Onslaught. So I would recommend something like this. And it all has open as an open prefix. I can't slam anything useful on it, so I didn't bother slamming it. It would just give me like flat damage to attacks, wands and bows, mana, something like that. Like I don't need any of those rolls. This is a perfect 3-prop for me. Pantheons, I didn't bother getting any Pantheons. I'd probably recommend Cannot Be Stunned and Growthcool, Brian King Growthcool, but I didn't bother doing any of that, so don't worry about it. But yeah, let's get into the gear stuff. So, only required item is a Shavs if you want to go low life. If you don't want to go low life, drop this node, take this node, and then just use a high ES of all regalia until you can afford a Shavs. Or any high ES chest. Like you can get a chest with 500 to 700 ES for basically nothing at this stage. Just use a 5-link, you know? And just go CI instead of this. You'll be fine. If you're in lower tier maps, that'll work perfectly fine. Other gear is just all rare ES pieces. So ES helmet, try to go for like 300, 250 to 300 plus, you know? Shield, try to go for 300 to 400. If you can get resist in, that helps as well. Shield wise, you can get like spell crit, spell damage. A little bit of cast speed, I think, as well. You can get. I don't know if you can get cold damages. You can get cold damage too, on a shield. But this is basically just pure damage. Rings just get damage resist ES stats if you need them. If you can get an Assassin's Mark, Warlord's Mark rings, go for it. These are just high ES rings that give me literally no damage. None of my helmet gives me no damage. This is just Shavs, no damage here. Boots, movement speed, ES, resist stats if you need them. Gloves, same thing. Resist, stats, ES. Pretty simple stuff there. Go for like 100 to 200 ES boots, 100 to 200 ES gloves. Belt, if you can get a crystal belt with energy shield recovery rate, that's great. Or a chain belt, doesn't really matter that much. Or if you don't want to worry about the energy shield recovery rate, that's just a multiplier to how fast you leech. If you're comfortable without it, then you can just go for a normal Stygian with ES resist on it. Maybe even craft one with fossils and try to get cold damage, elemental damage with the cold and the elemental fossils. I don't know what the cold one's called. Frigid and prismatic will give you those. Dense will give you energy shields from body armor, which is pretty useful as well. If you wanted to craft your own belt, there you go. Amulet. If you can get a Shaper amulet with pen and multi on it, resist, stats, ES, you know, whatever else you need. It's pretty simple. I think I bought this for 200 chaos. and it had life on it. I just crafted ES on it. Like, they're not expensive. Gem, oh yeah, weapon, sorry. Weapon is just, if you can get a scepter, a wand, a dagger, whatever, with a bunch of damage on it, crit for spells, extra damage to spells, all of that works. This is about, what is that, 40, 50, 50, so this is 140-ish spell damage, cold damage, whatever, with some cold dispels and crit for spells. I could get a lot better than this. If we had a scepter that had, like, pen, spell damage, elementalist, chaos, crit multi, cast speed, crit for spells, will be a lot better than this, but I just had this on my stash. I didn't feel like investing a lot of currency in this character. All I did for this character was buy like a level 21 Winter Orb. The rest I had in my stash because, you know, standard things. Gem links. Main 6 link. In order of priority, I believe it's Winter Orb, GMP, Infused Channeling, and then like Conk Effect, Energy Leech, Controlled Destruction. In order. Energy Leech, for some reason, they gave it a more multiplier. Like, Mana Leech and Life Leech do not have this at all. But it has a more multiplier on it, so you can use it in your main 6 link and you won't feel bad. It's pretty stupid. So you got Energy Shield Leech here, you got a fair amount on the tree. You just need to figure out Mana Leech at some stage, and that's what the Warlord's Mark is for. Other link setups, I have a Castle Damage Taken Immortal Call setup that is relatively low level. You could up this a lot. I should probably up this a lot, honestly, because I have Warlords, I do have Endurance Charge Generation, so I can benefit pretty heavily from the extra Endurances. Friendly reminder, Immortal Call gives you Fizz immunity once it procs. It does not prevent you from being one-shot, it does not prevent you from taking anything other than physical damage, and it does have a base duration of 0.4 seconds. So even if you don't have Endurance Charges, you will still get 0.4 seconds of immunity once it procs to physical damage, and then if you have Endurances, level it up a bunch so you get higher Endurance buff duration, basically. I also have a Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb gives enemies negative 25% cold resist, which we are basically all cold damage. So that's a lot of free damage there. And since I kept it relatively low level, this will just spam out all the time and get all my AoE, you know? I have a Orb of Storms linked to Power Charge on crit and Onslaught support. This is for the bosses. I can drop this Orb of Storms and it'll give me Power Charges and it'll give me Onslaught whenever it hits a unique enemy. 10% chance to gain it for 3 seconds, you know? So that's good. I only use this for bossing. I very rarely otherwise use it in maps. You could drop it in maps all the time if you're struggling to proc Onslaught, but I'm not worried about it. As for the aura setups, so depending on whether or not you have an aspect of the spider item, which if you don't have, that's okay. You can just, you know, turn that off. And you'll have a lot of extra mana to work with. You could potentially work into like a, what's the other aura? Malevolence? Or the other, you could use Herald of Ash as well. Or Clarity if you have a Discipline Watcher's Eye. Like, I'm not using a Watcher's Eye. You could use that if you wanted to get a lot more ES. I'm not. But yeah. Aura setup in the helmet, I have a Herald of Thunder linked to Curse Alternate Warlord's Mark, which hits things around me with the bolts whenever I kill shocked enemies. That applies Warlord's Mark, so that gives us some Leech and some Endurance Charge Generation. I also have a Discipline, and then what else do I have on mana? I have a Herald of Ice setup over here, linked to a Curse on Hit Assassin's Mark, which gives us our power charges and makes enemies take more crits. And then I have a link to Ice Bite, so whenever this skill, Herald of Ice, kills something with the explosion, I get Frenzy Charges. Majority of the time while I'm in maps, I have full frenzies, full endurance, full power because of these two setups. And then on my life pool, I have a Blood Magic Zealotry, which reserves more than 50% of my life, so I am able to get my low life bonus for 50% more. I also get more spell damage here, Consecrated Ground whenever I hit rare unique enemies, which gives us extra crit and life regen if I had Zealot's Oath, which I don't. And you get spell crit too, which is nice. I also have a Vol Righteous Fire, which gives us 28% more spell damage linked to increased duration. I believe it lasts like 10 seconds or something. 8.8 seconds of more spell damage for when you want to kill a boss. It removes some of your ES in exchange for damage. It's pretty nice. And then that's everything actually. What else do I got? I have a Flame Dash and a Portal Gem, randomly. If you didn't have, I don't know, what could you take out? You could drop the Cast Damage Taken setup and just self-cast the Frost Bomb if you wanted to put your Flame Dash over there, your Portal over there. It's not that important, it's just kind of nice. Enchantment-wise, helmet, you can go for Winter Orb plus 2 max stages. Oh, fuck. Oh, I just realized I'm on my stream overlay shit. That's the wrong button, too. Sorry. What? I just got cheers? I don't know what that was. Whatever. Alright, so, helmet enchant, you can get plus 2 max stages. Each stage for Winter Orb gives you duration and projectile frequency, so it fires faster. That's a pretty good enchant. Otherwise, just, you know, get anything relevant. You don't need an enchant, but it helps. Glove enchant, I would recommend Commandment of Winter when you take a hit. If you take a hit, it'll fire a cold AoE projectile spell, which is literally what Winter Orb is, so it'll kill stuff if it hits you, which is nice. Boot enchant, regen's nice. Mana regen's kind of nice for sustaining on bosses if you can't get your Warlords to proc, but honestly, I would probably recommend like Pen if you haven't killed recently is the best for killing bosses. For clearing, you could do Leech. If you're struggling with Mana Leech, the Leech enchant's probably really helpful. Or Attack and Cast Speed if you've killed recently. That always works too. As for Flask setups, so yeah, main setup, you get a Diamond Flask, you get a Consecrated Ground Flask. This gives you crit and damage. This gives you more crit. Movement Seed Flasks, you can go fast, and it's Zeri's Promise. Very cheap, very easy. You're going to want Freeze and Bleed on some of this somewhere. And then for your last flask, you could use a Dying Sun for extra projectiles. You can also use the, oh god, what is it called? This thing, Cinder Swallow Urn. It gives you 10% more damage to enemies ignited by you during Flask effect, which is, you know, basically everything all the time because we're an Elementalist. If you get like a little bit of extra fire damage to spells, you'll ignite all the time because you're crit. This also gives you ES and mana on kill during Flask effect, and depending on what Veiled mod you get on it, critical strike chance is really nice as well. It is also an Onslaught Flask, so it would give you Onslaught while mapping. If you wanted to use this instead of the Searching Eye Jewel here, just get a Hypnotic with Flat Fire and Cold Dispels and some ES. This will give you your Onslaught, and it'll allow you to ignite things consistently, so you get that 10% more damage and the healing. This is literally instant healing whenever you kill anything, so it should keep you full all the time while mapping. You can use that instead of Dying Sun. I don't know which one's more expensive in League right now, or instead of Zeri's Promise. I'm probably going to swap it in instead of Zeri's, honestly. But yeah, I think that's everything. I don't know if there's anything else I need to talk about. Right? Are we good? I don't script these videos, so I did a map, talked about Ascendancy, talked about bandits. Help Alira, sorry, for your bandits. For the crit multi and all res, it'll help with gearing. Other than that, like, yes, I have Legacy ES gear, but if you dropped like all of this down to the current tiers of ES, I would have like 10k ES or so. And if I had any ES on any of my jewels, or like a Discipline Watcher's Eye, Clarity Watcher's Eye, I could get a lot more than this. But I didn't change anything, you know. If you want the life-based version, I'll put that in the description of this video. Other than that, I think that's everything. So hopefully you guys are having fun in League. Hopefully you're enjoying these caster buffs, because everything's pretty broken now. And it's great. I'm going to try to level this character to 100, I think, over the next couple days, maybe. It's level 98 right now. I don't have a level 100 witch yet, so I want to do that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and go follow me on twitch.tv/Demi. Maybe check out our merch store as well. All those links are in the description of the video. I'll see you in the next one. That'll be Demi out.